Hey, welcome to it. It's another installment of the Mass Talk, and we are broadcasting live from Maboneng, the epicenter of all things arts and nice.
It's the Mass Talk. Sit back, relax, watch and listen. All things necessary, lifestyle and business. The Mass Talk, the Mass Talk, the Mass Talk. This is the platform. Come on and witness the voice of the people with greatness that made it. The bar, they raised it. Foundation, they laid it. They are the magic. This is the Mass Talk.
Hello and welcome to another installment of the Mass Talk. And I'm your host, Masilu Benjamin Mathenjwa. But you can simply call me Maz. In the spirit of collaboration, we are here in our favorite coffee shop on the African continent, Hired Gun Coffee Shop in Maboneng, the epicenter of all things arts and nice. 2 words, Thando Mathenjwa. Remember that name. Well, in our midst, we have business legend in the making, an innovator, pioneer, academic, intellect, gentleman of note, agitator, self-starter, sports enthusiast, gent of gent. But to me, a brother. And he'll be telling me about himself and his business, NFC SmartCards. T, welcome to the show.
Maz, thank you so much for having me, my brother.
Thank you for having us, man. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. You and I go a very long way, and I'm sure people will see that. But for those who are uninitiated about those 2 words, Thando Mathenjwa, who are you? Where are you from? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
It's going to be quite difficult to top that introduction. You've come in with fire, guns blazing, but Thando Mathenjwa is a young man. Albeit age-wise, I'm a little bit older now, but I do feel I'm a young man. Started off in Katlehong, Engema. My mom was there. Raised by a single mother, she managed to get us out of K1. Grew up in Alberton. A strong woman who taught me the importance of being a good man, the importance of valuing family, the importance of valuing relationships. And that's what the kind of person I am. I try to emphasize value through relationships, being around the right people. As you mentioned, self-starter, big fan of encouraging people to do their own thing.
Yeah.
Over and above that, to not be scared. So I've shifted into the tech space. I've come into the environment where I think Africa really needs that type of innovator, that type of individual who's going to take the continent forward. And as a base, I've also come in as someone who's knowledgeable in the sports space, building character through sport, and ultimately a lot of lessons learned there in terms of how I do my business.
Sure.
So that's the base of Thando.
Yeah.
I enjoy the company that I keep. I enjoy privacy. I enjoy working with people.
Yeah.
But that being said, you want to work with the right people as opposed to many people. So I would give that as a basis. That's Thando Mathenjwa.
Solid, bro. Very, very solid. So, knowing you, and just to add color to the viewers, you were creme de la creme in high school. I won't go into the details, lest, you're like, hey, that's too much. But clearly your path was kind of charted for you. This is the one, this is where you'd go, and there you are to exec, etc., etc. But for some reason, you didn't choose that path. In our conversations over the years, you've always seemed to chart your own path. And that makes me question, when did the entrepreneurial bug bite you? And how did you end up in this space?
So I would say a lot of it started when I moved to Cape Town, when I went to go do my undergrad at UCT. Again, as mentioned, having been raised by a single mother, I didn't want to burden Uma with arbitrary expenses for my lifestyle. So that was the main reason why I shifted into business. I would say initially a lot of it was the hustler's mentality. Hustle, hustle. Get where you can, multiple streams of income. But over the past few years, I would say I've refined my path and started to be a little bit more strategic, rather than being a scattergun and working with everyone, building genuine relationships, So as far back as that, I've always worked in the entrepreneurial space. I've done business with friends, we've sold t-shirts, branded merchandise. Then from there, you understand?
Yeah.
Like it's not just somewhere where you all of a sudden find yourself in the ideal business. There's a lot of mistakes that we made along the way. I've also worked with taking over my mom's fast food business. That was a big learning curve from an operations standpoint in terms of how do you run, how are your margins worked out, how do you actually do the logistics of running the business. As much as you'll see the front end, what's happening behind the shop. And I would say post-COVID, that's where I really saw, we're seeing an environment that's changing. It's difficult to engage face-to-face, albeit it's important. We need to now establish what's happening in the digital space. How are people doing business in that environment? How are people working in that space? And that would be the path, A lot of it has also helped, again, like I say, the sports element has helped me persevere, because a lot of people think entrepreneurship is easy and you need a lot of grit.
Definitely.
A lot of fight, and sometimes you have to be prepared to cut your losses. Sure. Don't view it as a financial loss, but some relationships are really detrimental. You could be benefiting financially, but in terms of your character, the decisions that you're making, you don't want to be compromised in business. So you always want to be finding yourself working with the right people. I think I'm at that stage where I've built a good network. I'm sitting here with you as a professional financier, but we're having a genuine conversation about business. So it's at that stage where I do business now for trust.
Yes.
Values, So, what does this person value? Do they value money, or do they value a genuine person? Someone who's there for you, someone who communicates well. So it just depends what you do in terms of the relationships you seek to build, but what is the authentic relationship that will come out of doing a business transaction? That's my priority here.
Sure. And before we cut into the break, just tell us a bit about NFC SmartCards. So you touched on the fact that we are in a digital era, and clearly you've pivoted from the back room or the back end of the operations with the fast food joint into this. So give us a sneak peek of what NFC SmartCards is.
So just the base on how the idea came about.
Yes.
So I was networking a lot, and I was issuing a lot of business cards.
Yes.
And from a sustainability standpoint, to be at every event, I'm giving guys. But you're not even getting phone calls, you're not even getting that shout out, So I'm like, this is actually not a viable way of doing business. So I just did a little bit of research, I did a bit of consulting for a company in Belgium. Obviously, having done my master's, they seek to boost R&D, and we were in the fintech space 2021.
Yeah.
And the idea came about where I said, how can we use fintech to create these digital business cards? A lot of it is from personal research. We basically figured out that through NFC technology, we can code cards to carry particular information. So if you wanted to carry your contact information, we'll code that card to carry it. And with a simple tap onto any smart device, the information would directly go into the person's phone. So it eliminates the card component of, Maz, here's my card. Now, from you having to put all your details into the device, automatically it goes into the device. And that's where we were. We've been developing the product, over and above the back end. the aesthetic of it. You know, we had to find printers as to how we're gonna get images onto this card without damaging the chip inside the card. You know, and we've reached a point where we've somewhat launched.
Okay.
And I don't want to say launch because people will view your social media presence, but we've done a lot of business with a lot of high-end clients without even having a presence, which is back to why I'm saying the importance of relationships. You understand, you need a good network, and we've developed the cards, and we've launched at a stage where now we've got an e-commerce store, we've got a platform where we're slowly starting to promote ourselves on social media. But at this stage, we've got clients who are interested in the product, and yeah, hopefully we can say this innovation has come out of Africa. Let's try to get people out of your typical businesses. Let's get them, showing them that, hey, we can come up with stuff. It might not be brand new, but right here in Africa, we can develop innovative products, and that's what our focus was for NFC Smart.
Sure. I'd love to know more about it. So from your, as you've hinted that you've got an e-commerce store, going to go to the next e-commerce store to find out what NFC SmartCards is all about.
Are you still using old school paper cards? Nice, simple, clean design? No more. We're moving into a digital era. My name is Thando Mathenjwa, founder of NFC SmartCards. And this video will illustrate to you our new NFC cards that will allow you to transfer your contact details digitally. From our end, we focused on design, we focused on high quality print, as well as functionality and all the benefits of the card. This video will just show you how the card operates and what we have to offer. As you can see, we've got our basic cards at this stage. All various companies that we've worked with, various products that we've produced. Basic design, as you can see, we can do it vertically, we can do it horizontally, we can do it for your restaurant, we can even include a QR code if you need a QR code. All the designs are not limited to 2D, 3D. Our priority is to make sure we transfer a high-res image onto the device. In terms of functionality, each card can be coded to ensure that your information is transferred seamlessly. The basic card that we offer as a contact card, you just tap and the contact card will immediately pop up. Perhaps you want to use it for your restaurant and you'd like to illustrate your menu. You just tap the card and immediately you'll be able to access the menu. Various functions over and above the menu if you want to send your clients directly to your website. You just tap and they will head over to the website. Now, it is not only limited to web services, we can code it to go to your social media. So a basic function that we offer, coded, you just tap, and as simple as that, you will head over to the social media. Those are the basic benefits of the card. We have various designs, we have various solutions, all depending on what your company needs. From our end at NFC SmartCards, we are looking for game changers, we are looking for entrepreneurs, business execs, anyone who would like to shift from a paper solution to a paperless digital solution. Give us a shout, feel free to contact us, and we are more than happy to help you.
Before the break, Thando was telling us a little bit about NFC technology. T, how did you end up finding and discovering this technology, and what is it exactly?
So a couple of years back, we did a bit of consulting for a logistics company in Belgium. They looked to integrate fintech into their, I wouldn't say production process, but their sales process. And we consulted and we found the technology through the fintech space. Basically what would happen was I had a few mates who I did my masters with, and we just did the research for the company, and we found that a lot of your bank cards use NFC technology, so it's obvious.
So it's those three wavy
That's
things.
correct. That's correct.
Oh,
That's correct.
okay.
That is what the symbol is for NFC technology. Even if you look at the speed point, it's got those three waves to say that it's NFC enabled. So that's how we found the tech. Then we started to explore, okay, yes, you can hold account information, but what other information can you hold? You know, contact information, a web link, social media, anything that is web-based, you can essentially code the card to go directly to that link. And from there, you'll know, okay, this is what I've programmed it to do. This is what it will do. And then you know that the coding is done. Once the coding is done, you just program the card and you tell it where to go. And that's how we found it. Now, as much as we want to pivot from the fintech space, we'll probably go back to it, but the whole idea was to find out what else can it do? What other information can we put with this NFC technology?
Yeah, and then those businesses that I'm sure you've approached who don't necessarily understand what this is, what are they losing out on? What are the benefits of the NFC card, smart card rather, that you are putting out there?
So a lot of businesses, it's a different product because I have to educate people before I sell. So, you know, a lot of people come in with a hard sale, but I have to tell people this is what it can do. First, eco-friendly solution. You know, if you look at your ESG strategies, it is a brilliant environmental solution. Normally, when I was printing, I would go through about 500 business cards a month. I literally have one card now. One card. Now, if you have a sales team, instead of them issuing out many cards, they have a single card and they just tap the contact information onto the device. Over and above that, the encryption. So even your data on the card is safe. You stored it and it only works when someone is near you. That's the main thing. So if you're handing over the details, it's a close quarter contact, it's direct, it's simple, it's nice and easy. Now, the question is, what if I don't want my contact information? As a customer, you'll tell us, this is what I need for my business, this is the solution I need. You can have download links. So instead of me emailing you your information, we can code the card to say, okay, cool, here's my presentation for a fund that I do. You can download that presentation as opposed to printing out a physical presentation and handing it over. So those are some of the benefits. Again, it's been a hard sell because we're essentially looking 5 years ahead, 10 years ahead when there's no more paper being distributed. You know, people are still giving out flyers. Yeah. Where does that flyer end up? You take it, you say, thank you very much, you put it into the car, it just collects dust. Some people even throw away that. Why not use it to transfer it digitally? Everything is shifting towards a digital environment, and that's where we're going with the technology.
Sure. And I know that you are quite big in terms of social media on LinkedIn, right? And that's where a lot of your information goes and actually sort of, I saw in a demonstration of your card actually taking a user to your LinkedIn page. And, you know, I was doing a little bit of research, obviously, and I saw that you are an advocate of the African Continental Free Trade Area, or agreement, I think. That's why they refer to it. And I found that very interesting because I know that you wrote an article about it. So tell us more about the importance of the African Free Trade Agreement, Continental Agreement, and why should we know about it?
So, firstly, I feel that the rest of the world wants to access Africa without Africans.
That's true.
So you want to come in and do business without Africans. And that's where the African Continental Free Trade Agreement is pivotal. As Africans, we really have a platform and an opportunity to do trade between each other for free. People don't even realize that. There's a lot of import tariffs that have been brushed aside, a lot of custom charges that have been brushed aside to enable trade to happen in Africa.
Free flow
Free flow of trade, free flow of goods.
Yeah.
Because, it's easier for a company in France to send a product to Congo, but it's hard for us as a South African company to send a product to Congo. How is that benefiting us? So I've been an advocate for it because I want people to prioritize the growth of African trade.
Definitely.
African trade. So don't view it as an agreement, and a lot of it tends to be academic. We have this agreement between the AU. Let's avoid the academic exercise of it. Again, like I say, post-masters, I was very much for producing written content, but I said to myself, no. How do we actually put this agreement, this free trade, in action? And that's where I put a lot of emphasis on this trade.
And what was your master's thesis on, just out of interest?
So I wrote on democracy.
Okay.
But I wrote on the quality of democracy.
Wow.
I think the misconception is that we can vote. We have free rights. We have this beautiful constitution, Bill of Rights. But how is it in action? On the ground. 100%. So I did a case study on a township in Cape Town called Delft.
Oh, yes.
Delft, very rough area. Very much...
always on the news.
100%.
Yeah.
But the benefits of it, it's actually an interracial township. Very much so. And over and above that, you actually see democracy in action. So there's councillors there, there's votes, there's elections, but are they actually getting the service delivery that they need? Are they actually ensuring that, when I complain about a problem in my community, are they being heard? And unfortunately, it was not good news, but it was the truth. It was an uncomfortable lesson, for myself to be based in Cape Town, to go into that environment and come out of it. It was an experience that people have lived experiences. So when they're complaining about democracy or service delivery, it's not because of written laws that say, no, we can vote, we can complain to our councillors. It is a lived experience. So the idea was to say, what quality of democracy are these people experiencing? People in suburbs make money. So they can complain with their money and say, hey, I'm not going to pay you my rates and taxes until you deliver. So democracy is supposed to be for all. But is it for all? Is it for those who are well endowed financially? That's the main crux of the thing.
Wow, man, that's phenomenal work, and I think, if possible, you should share this information to people, because I think it will help in educating people about democracy. But I want to just segue a little bit. Or I think you wanted to say something.
I'll add on it. So, just to sneak in, I'm hoping you bring me back.
Yes, definitely.
But in terms of the democratic components of our country, it's about people. So let's stop this culture of looking at our councillors, looking at our ministers, looking at our people who are in government. As a community, let's actually make sure that we are driving this change. And that's the reality of it. Your vote is actually your voice. Why not take control of it as a collective? So if we're having a problem in the area, let's make a collective decision to fix it. And that's the culture that, moving forward, when we discuss it a little bit later, I want people to really understand that pull together and you're a lot stronger together. Let's make sure of that. But more than happy to elaborate on that later.
Yeah, I think that actually needs its own episode. And you know what? Going into the next, let's just call it 11 months, we know that we're in election overdrive. So you'll be back, definitely,
100%.
on that particular
Happy
conversation.
Happy to have a convo.
I want to weave this back into business. And you touched on democracy and service delivery. And this show is powered by Fungit, which is a fintech, which makes trust tangible. And I think it would be amazing if we would be able to hold our monies before the service actually, gets delivered. So that's how this app actually works. And I'd want to actually know that in your interaction with the Africa Free Trade Agreement, have you found that this could be a need that we need to sort of help with the trade, given that trust is going to be an issue? Do you think it's an efficient or a relevant product?
100%. Maz, I can't stress the need for these platforms. First, to develop such an app, already that's an achievement.
So
I think people downplay app development, web development. It's no easy feat. Already that's an achievement.
yeah,
Now you've built the platform and you have suppliers, you have people, you have legal behind you who are actually prepared to facilitate this trade.
so
Let's use these platforms and drive the digital push to do trade. So I fully agree, Fungit is going to be something of the future.
yeah.
Let's not doubt it. Let's support it. And again, we're quick to support big business.
Yeah.
But here's platforms that people are developing out of Africa. It's not an easy thing to do to start a business. And Fungit has said, okay, this is how we're going to move forward. Let's keep at it. Let's keep at it. I'm a big fan of Fungit. Let's keep at it. Let's keep at it.
Definitely. And on that note, let's cross over to our Fungit friend who's going to tell us more, or rather, remind us of how Fungit works. If you see my beautiful face and my teeth in this gated community, you're watching the Men's Talk. And we have Thando Mathenjwa. And on a rather lighter note, Thando, as we close, I would just like to find out from you, is there a book that you've read that has impacted your life in a significant way, from business, personal? Is there a book that that has really meant or had a meaningful impact in your life?
So, obviously, having studied political science, a lot of the stuff that I engaged with was very academic, very dense, but I tried to look for books that are practical. So I would say there's 3 books that have really made a big difference for me. The first one is Atomic Habits by James Clear. That's correct. Basis teaches you what are those small little differences that you need to make. How do you reward yourself for making those habits come into your life? And over and above that, just a strategic perspective on how to do the right things daily. Another book that I really, really, really value. These are the 2 books that I would say are my bread and butter. There's a book by Chris Voss. It's called Never Split the Difference, Negotiating Like Your Life Depended on It. That's a book about a former FBI agent. He used to negotiate hostage situations, and he's used those principles on how to negotiate in the business environment. So, as much as we're not keeping people hostage, but a lot of negotiations are give and take.
Yeah.
A lot of it is we need to make sure that you get what you want out of it, I get something out of it. But that being said, very little compromise, because you need to make sure that we meet at some point where we're happy and we're good to go. So I would say those are 2 books that I really, really enjoy. Over and above that, I do focus on a lot of business books. There is a lot of political books that I've read, the likes of Steve Biko, which I really, really enjoy. But in the same breath, on my journey over the past 5 years, I've focused on developing a business mind, business skills, even books such as 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, books such as The Intelligent Investor. That's the main focus that I've been putting a lot of my energy into. So that's a space that I'm in now, and those are the books that I'm currently reading and rereading.
Sure.
I think that those are the undercover books that are downplayed. There's also another book by Alex Hormozy that I'm looking to get into. $100 million sales. Those are the books that I'm really looking at delving and getting into.
Okay, and if you had to write a book about where you are right now, what would be the title?
That's a tough one. You've put me in a corner, yeah? But I would call it Follow the Journey.
Follow the Journey by Thando Mathenjwa.
Follow the journey. It's not about the final destination. It's not about where you are at the stage. But I would say just follow the journey, because when you look back, a lot of the decisions you've made in the past have actually shaped the decisions you make in the future. That being said, the journey now is not dependent on the decisions that you've made in the past, but how do you move forward from where you are at that stage? So I would call it that. Ask me in maybe 5 years' time, it might change, but I'm a big fan of the journey, a big fan of the process. You know, it's about getting the process right, finding the outcome, from there, pivoting again, reworking the process, seeing how you move forward from there, reworking. So, you know, a lot of people, even in their careers, you don't want to be stuck.
Definitely.
You need to see, where is the growth? How do I grow in this environment? How do I drive myself to be a better version of myself? And that's where I would say my priority would be. That's what I would follow the journey.
Nice, nice. Speaking of yourself, if you had to speak to your 21-year-old Thando, what would you say to him with what you know now about life?
Basics, believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. I think people downplay their abilities. People downplay where they can go. You know, 21-year-old Thando was a much bigger nerd. You know, I was very much a nerd. And it's taken me about 10 years to go back to and say, no, man, believe in yourself. Your brains and your intellect is what actually is pushing you. Believe in that. You know? Otherwise, I'd also tell myself, just trust the process. Don't view it as a final outcome. Trust the process, and that's something that I'd really emphasize. You know, it's not easy, because when you look at the outcomes, you tend to be results obsessed. But if you look at, I've done it the correct way, I've done it properly, what was the issue with the outcome? Then from there, you go back and revisit the process. The last thing I would tell myself is stay authentic. Stay authentic. Don't pretend. You know, people like you for you. And if they don't like you, they don't like you. I think people need to accept that. You know, so be true to who you are. People tend to gravitate towards you if you are authentic. And you can also tell when someone is not being authentic. And that's the three things I would say I'd tell myself.
Powerful, man. And in closing, what's your message to the youth?
My message to the youth would be, get up and do it yourself. We honestly can't depend on other people. The fact that I'm sitting with you here is something that you said, okay, you know what? I'm going to do it myself. You've got a production team here who believes in the vision that you're going with. They get it. They're all working together to make sure that this is a success. So those are the things that I would say. Get up and do it yourself. As much as the youth are expecting, nobody's coming. Nobody is coming to help you. As much as you want to say, yeah, but I've put them in power. No, I've got a friend there. The right people will come into play when you know that I'm doing this myself. When I say yourself, don't view it as an individual. Get the right people around you. Get a good network. Again, the product that we've developed, we've made mistakes. But the people get it that, okay, I believe in this business. How can we make it better? How can we help them? Through feedback, I believe in this product. I believe in the service that we offer. So those are the things that I would say. Don't depend on people in power. Don't depend on people in the business environment. You know, find the right people who are there to back you for you, not pretending to back you, who are there to back you for you. Not because of financial gain, not because of financial. A lot of the guys who I do business with, you know, I won't mention their names, but these are prominent individuals who are actually like, no, this guy's starting out, I believe in his idea. I believe in what he's doing. He's delivering in what he's saying. Yeah. So get the right people around you, and if you back yourself, keep pushing. It's not easy, it'll always work out. It'll always work out.
Yeah. T, this has been an interview of note. I think the viewers are going to take a lot from what we've spoken about, and I definitely look forward to having you back on the show. You know, we're going to track the journey of NFC smart cards and you as an individual. But as I said as well, when it comes to your thinking, intellectual side, we're definitely going to tap into that, especially in regards to where the country is going with the elections. Because as the youth, we do need a voice. We do need someone who looks like us, who sounds like us, who can narrate and speak over the issues that we are facing. So I really look forward to having you back on the show on those topics. And thank you for gracing us with your presence and really sharing these really relevant nuggets of wisdom. And I think that the viewers are going to benefit from it.
Thank you so much for having me, Masilo. You and I go a long way back. You know, from when we were doing drama at school. Yeah. Yet here you are now in front of these cameras, you know, and again, I'm following your journey. You know, just by seeing you here, seeing you tap into something you're passionate about, something that you enjoy, keeping it an authentic conversation, I will be back.
For sure.
All right. Appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, folks, this has been this week's installment of the Mass Talk, powered by Fungi.